one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have one presentation. The Boys and Girls Club Field Zone. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brett Tillander. I'm the CEO of Boys and Girls Clubs of Oakland and Macomb Counties, and I'm here, of course, with Miss Neighbors and Council. We're honored to be able to be here tonight, and just wanted to share with you a quick update in terms of the impact here, and we have a packet that we'll pass out to you, and just to share some things that are really important that have happened at the field zone. And for those of you who remember how important it was to be able to create the field zone here in Southfield, to be able to serve the youth of the community. And in 2011, there were a number of you who stepped forward and said, we want to make sure that the field zone continues to operate and is here, and that meant authorizing a partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. So now we have the Boys and Girls Club Field Zone that's been here since 2007, operating as a Boys and Girls Club. And many of you may know that we had promised a number of things in that partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. We would want to make sure that our kids graduated from high school, that our kids had a safe place to go after school, that they would learn skills that would last them a lifetime. And a number of programs that the Boys and Girls Club has includes the Youth of the Year program. And I remember meeting with Miss Neighbors and the board of the field zone and talking about there will be a day, and it might take a decade, but there will be a day where there'll be a youth who grows up through the Boys and Girls Club experience that will be able to participate in the National Youth of the Year program. Well, we were wrong. That happened a lot faster than a decade. And in just a year, a little bit more than a year ago, Alora Allen, who was named the Midwest Youth of the Year, was in the Oval Office with President Obama being welcomed and representing this incredible city, and really the fruit of this partnership that has been something that has been incredible and actually a model for the country. Alora is at Bowling Green State University. She is on an incredible scholarship through that Youth of the Year program. And on top of that, she was hired by Boys and Girls Clubs of America. She travels across the country, sharing her story about what happens in a Boys and Girls Club. And she reminds everyone about the partnership with Chrysler, where she was matched with the 18 women, the highest ranking execs at Chrysler. And she showed up that day with floral jeans and a pink fleece jacket. And she jokes about that, and she says that experience, that partnership with the women at Chrysler, was what helped her turn around her grade point average that was hovering around 1.5 to being able to be on the honor roll, and then now doing what she's doing at Bowling Green State University. I just want to thank you. The report that is in front of you details the impact here. I think one of the things that is important is that the partnership that you've created through the Boys and Girls Club in the field zone has a real value for the residents. One of the things that happened after that partnership was established was that we lowered the annual fee to be able to be a member of the Boys and Girls Club to match what happens at our facilities in Ferndale and Royal Oak and Washington Township to $50 a year. And that allowed every kid who wanted to be able to, and those who needed to be scholarship, to be able to come and participate. That's a value as a city that you are providing to the residents here. There are 400, as I stand in front of you today, 426 members who filled out an application for this year who participate in the field zone programs. It's a powerful testimony, and on top of that, I just want to share this with you. I know how important the investment has been. The University of Michigan did a study of our programs here in Michigan with Boys and Girls Clubs. For every dollar that is invested in the Boys and Girls Club, and this is from, I'm a Spartan, but this is from the University of Michigan, $12.64 is delivered to the local community in terms of value. So I want to thank all of you for your leadership, your continued support. And I just got done having a day like I enjoy here down in the basement at the field zone, listening to kids come in and connect with staff who care about them. And you have one of the most incredible staff members who leads this organization standing next to me. She was on the board, and she is the unit director who serves as the lead for the Field Zone here, and last year was named as our Professional of the Year in our organization. So I know I've talked far too long, but I did want to give Ms. Neighbors an opportunity to share something as well.
I would just like to thank everyone who's come down to the Field Zone to see us and to lend their support. The HR people come through every once in a while to show new employees where we are and who we are. That is great. We need all the good marketing that we can get. The mayor has been down. Thank you so much. We appreciate seeing all of you. Rochelle, I'd like to send out a special shout out to Rochelle because she sends me lots of emails about STEM programs and art programs and scholarships that we could be available for. So thank you once again.
And Council President, just in closing, one thing I'd like to share with you and for all of the residents in Southfield who have a senior right now in high school. If you are interested in applying, we have a full ride scholarship. The application is due April 14th. This covers everything from their very beginning expenses as a freshman all the way through their graduating year in college. The only requirement we have is that they have to attend a university here in the state of Michigan. But those deadlines are due, their applications are due April 14th, and it's a tremendous opportunity for a student here in Southfield to be able to apply for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't go away.
Don't go away. We're definitely appreciative of the efforts that you have there, and the place is a wonderful place. I've been there numerous times, and it's an exciting place to be in. Make me want to probably jump around a little bit. But Council, you have any comments or questions?
I do.
Mr. Frazier.
Yes, I've been on it before. And when we first developed the Field Zone, we tried to make it as productive and as challenging as we possibly could for the kids, regardless of what their ideas were. My question is, do we still have that same challenge and ability to challenge the youngsters, or is there something else you need that you don't have? Because as times change, people change, things need to change too. Or are we keeping up with it?
I think that the commitment that's here and the need that's here is evident every day. Last Monday, President's Day, we had the opportunity to take students. The kids were off that day. We filled a bus to Oakland University. Those kids got up, they had to get there at 8 o'clock, and we bussed them to Oakland University, and they spent the entire day out at Oakland University. There are some things that need to change at the Field Zone. The beautiful Pistons display that's there could be updated from our friends at the Detroit Pistons. That could benefit from that. And then also the incredible investment in terms of the furniture that was donated, and the team that, including Scott Griffin and others who had made that possible. Our furniture needs to be upgraded. We've been able to upgrade the computers, and I think that the opportunities that we're putting in front of kids meet kids where they're at. And the other challenge is that we see kids who need to know that they have a safe place to go. In our world today, they need to know that. And the other thing is that we need to prepare them for a world that's changed since the Field Zone opened.
Sure.
The whole issue of skilled trades, the opportunity to make sure that we're educating kids about the opportunities that are out there. And the other thing is, it's not just so much us coming at them, it's us listening. And you as a community have demonstrated that you're listening to these kids. There's a lot of concerns that they have about the environment that we're in right now. And the Field Zone under Ms. Neighbors' leadership has continued to lend that ear, and I think that's most important.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Sure. I just wanted to say hello again. Good to see you all. I'm very happy about the update that we got from you guys, and of course, it's no surprise to me, having been served on the board with you, Brett, for a number of years, and I just wanted to say just what a gem this organization is, and the leadership and all the workers that are part of this club bring to this community. It's just phenomenal. I've never seen such dedication from like I said, from the senior leadership board on down. And kind of, I guess, maybe piggybacking a bit on what Mr. Frazier just saying. I mean, whatever else we can do as a city there to be supportive of, we want to continue to do that and pour in because clearly the return on investment is huge in this community. So we just thank you for all the work that you're doing.
Okay.
too want to echo Councilman Cruz's comments, but I do have two children, and I remember the first time we visited the Field Zone, my son was so anxious to join, but he's only 10. So what is the age requirement again? And
So one of the commitments we
and
made.
just before you answer, is it, if a 13-year-old could join and bring a 10-year-old with her, could we do that? Because I didn't want to sign one up and not the other, but.
So here's, typically in all of our locations, we service youth ages 6 to 18. At the Field Zone, our commitment was to mirror exactly what the city's relationship had been in establishing the Field Zone. So we kept exactly the same parameters that the city had said were important to them in this teen population that we focused on. One of the things that Ms. Neighbors has done is with our summer program, because a lot of times you might have a 13-year-old who is a member and would like to be able to come on during the summer, during vacation. They've got that 10-year-old at home. So last summer was the first time that we extended a sibling being able to come from somebody who had partnered, so maybe that could have helped you. The challenge, I will say this, because I have a desire to be there for every kid that's 6 to 18 years of age. Because if we can get them at 6, 7, 8, 9, because we charge $50, it's not babysitting. If we were able to get them then, we have the opportunity to keep them longer and have a deeper impact. The challenge is the space. And if you invade a teen space, which is so powerful down there, if you bring 6, 7, and 8-year-olds, I really do worry the magic of what you created could be lost. So we've tried to tweak where we can, and but that's the history of why the age is what it is here. But they're also welcome at any of our other locations that serve 6 to 18. So, but I like it to be right here at home too. So.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I also move the regular meeting of January 29th.
Support?
It's a move by Mr. Fakasi, supported by Mr. Frazier, that we approve the minutes of January 29, 2018. Any questions? Are we prepared to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved as presented. Next item would be our consent agenda. There will be one item added to the consent agenda, be item G. A proposed letter of intent to purchase property. And our city attorney, she will address item G once I go through items A through F. The first item is an authorization to submit a TAP grant. The proposed submission of a joint city LTU TAP grant, that is Transportation Alternative Program grant, for a new 10 feet wide boardwalk and bridge along the southbound Northwest Service Drive adjacent to LTU. The Southfield City Center has pledged $150,000 over the fiscal year, over the 3 fiscal years as part of the required match, and the LTU has pledged an additional $150,000 to $175,000 toward the match. And plus, LTU will reimburse the City of Southfield for engineering, design, construction, authorization, administration, and contract administration as required by MDOT. Consent agenda item B, authorization to purchase truck for Park Services operation. The Parks and Recreation Department is seeking permission to purchase 2 trucks as authorized in the 2017-2018 budget. We are asking council to purchase 2 trucks through the Oakland County Cooperative Purchase Program, which has a contract number 5222. Each of the proposed items have been reviewed in terms of useful life, repair history, safety, and input from users. The motor pool has assessed vehicle number 923. The main frame structure is rusted, compromised, and not worthy of repurposing. Vehicle number 937, the brake system needs major restoration, including the replacement of all brake lines, hydro boost unit, and possible power steering pump, which is a component of the brake system. The fiscal impact of this will be the requested equipment purchase totals $70,055.00. Funding for this item is provided in the Parks and Recreation Equipment Revolving Fund. Consent agenda item C, authorization to purchase replacement excavator for the Street and Highway Department. The council gave authorization in the 2017-2018 budget to purchase an excavator for the Street and Highway Department. Accordingly, we are asking council for approval to purchase this vehicle through the National Joint Power Alliance, a purchasing program which allows cities to use competitive solicited contracts to buy goods and services at the most advantageous pricing. If this item is approved, the city will receive a $23,000 trade-in allowance for our 2006 excavator. The cost of the 2018 item is $265,625.68, minus a trade-in allowance of $23,000, which brings the total cost to $242,625.68. Funding for this particular item is provided in the 2017-2018 motor pool equipment replacement account. Consent agenda item D, authorization to purchase replacement floor scrubber for the motor pool department. Council gave authorization in the 2017-2018 budget to purchase a floor scrubber for the motor pool department. The new piece of equipment will replace a 2009 Clark floor scrubber, which has been reviewed in terms of structure and dependability and repair history. Other factors considered in the purchase recommendation include a high number of operating hours and obsolete part. The fiscal impact of this item will be the cost of the 2018 Advanced 7765 floor scrubber is $58,338.86. Funding is provided in the 2017-18 motor pool equipment replacement budget. Consent agenda item E, authorization to award Phase 1, the Red Pool Park. At the January 2018 council study session, this project was discussed and approved for bidding by the purchasing department at our regular meeting on the same night. The fiscal impact, the acceptable bid was submitted with the unit pricing by WCI Contractors of Detroit, Michigan. The budget for Phase 1 of the project is $200,000, plus approximate 10% contingency fund. Funds are provided through the Red Pool Park account and a donation from the North Event Center, and the balance of $108,336 will be coming from the Southfield City Center account. Consent agenda item F, exclusive due diligence agreement, Edward Ross and Sons, for the former Northland Mall project. Edward Ross and Sons is a residential developer which has built approximately 85,000 homes across the country. Additionally, currently Edward Ross has built and leased out approximately 60,000 residential dwellings unit across more than 50 states. Edward Ross is requesting authorization to enter into a 90-day due diligence agreement with the city on approximately 30 acres on the northwest side of Northland property for a potential residential development, including senior citizen housing. Fiscal impact. During the 90-day period, the Northland site will continue going through environmental site due diligence and executing the demolition of the Firestone building and the Target store. Although there's no expenditures, on behalf of the city, we will be limiting our ability to sell the subject property during this due diligence period. And consent agenda item E, Ms. Ward, will you please address? I'm sorry, consent agenda item G. Would you please address that one?
Sure. So consent agenda G is a proposed letter of intent with Nassimi Realty LLC. And what we're asking council is to approve the letter of intent for the city to conduct due diligence activities toward potential acquisition of that property. And as part of the resolution that's attached, we would be asking you to authorize the mayor and clerk to sign that letter of intent on behalf of the city.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I move that we approve consent agenda items A, B, C, D, E, F, and G.
Support.
Been moved by Mr. Frazier, supported by Mr. Cruz, that we approve consent agenda items A through G. Do I have a motion?
I did.
In favor?
Are we ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is the consent agenda items A through G are approved. We now go into public hearing. Item A, the Brownfield redevelopment plan and tax increment financing plan, and the development reimbursement agreement for 30915 Southfield Road Gas Station redevelopment.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Mayor, Honorable Board, how are you this evening? The city staff has received a request from Abyss Oil Investments, LLC, for 30915 Southfield Road for the redevelopment of their gas station. Mr. Crode is in the process of pulling up the presentation for us. Mr. Abyss was in the process of redeveloping his site when he discovered some additional costs that made it very challenging for him to move forward with his project. So he came to the Brownfield Authority and requested assistance. At our February 7th meeting, we approved his request, and they suggested that it come to City Council. So as soon as we get the PowerPoint presentation up, Elizabeth from PM Environmental will run through that presentation, and then we would ask for a public hearing. And then upon completion of that, approval of the attached resolution.
It's on the screen.
Oh, okay. Does this work? Oh, okay. Elizabeth, you want to see if that works?
Good evening.
Good evening.
So as Shelley,
Madam, your name and address, please.
Elizabeth Masserang, PM Environmental, 4080 West 11 Mile Road, Berkeley, Michigan. So as Shelley had mentioned, the property that we are discussing is 3915 Southfield Road. It's located at the southwest corner of 13 Mile Road and Southfield Road, right at the gateway to the city with Beverly Hills directly to the north. The property has been developed with various gas station and service stations since the 1950s. What's presented above is a photo of the former gas station located at the property. The developer owner, Sam, is a longtime business partner with the city. He's been in the city for over 20 years at this site. He's looking to do a complete overhaul of the project, including the demolition of the former C-store for the construction of a much larger building totaling almost 4,000 square feet, looking to put, at this point, around $2 million plus in private investment, a decent portion of that being strictly equity investment from his end. From a lot of discussions with Sam, a lot of this is a passion project for him. He's found that his relationship with the city thus far has been nothing but positive, and he's hoping that on completion it will create 17 full-time equivalent jobs and 15 construction jobs, and is committed to making an effort to make sure that those hires for those positions are local residents of Southfield. Separate from the Brownfield request I plan to go over, Sam has donated a smart bus shelter located just outside the gas station in efforts to help his patrons that visit the gas station in the neighborhood on a daily basis. He's committed to upkeep of the property. If any of you had visited, are very familiar with how meticulous he is with cleaning, and has granted the right-of-way access to the city for efforts to expand improvements along those right-of-ways. So the project to date, Sam has been the operator of the property since 1994, with actual ownership since 2004. This project was actually before you in 2015 for Planning Commission approval and City Council approval, initially granted at the beginning of 2016. We've hit several roadblocks along the project, and that's delayed it. Asked for a renewal to begin that work in January of 2017. Initial demolition had begun last summer, at which point we stepped into the picture as the environmental consultant when a release was discovered at the site. It entailed a significant amount of costs that weren't initially budgeted for, and kind of what has prompted us to be here before you this evening. The project is slated to be completed later this year, assuming all goes according to plan. The brownfield plan is a request for around $350,000 worth of eligible activities that span activities in demolition, asbestos abatement, infrastructure improvements, a significant portion which is dedicated to improving sidewalk right-of-ways, curbs and gutters, and landscaping in the public right-of-way, as well as site preparation for the site during construction. Currently, the taxable value for 2018 is slated to be around $106,000. Upon post-development, the taxable value is anticipated to be around $450,000. This is only a request for capture of a partial portion of the millages. So during the duration of the proposed brownfield plan, it's estimated that $308,000 will be preserved for taxing units during the plan, and that around $375,000 in new taxes will be generated during the duration. This is a proposed site plan of the project, as well as rendering. And Sam, the property owner, is here to answer any questions if you might have any, and I'd be happy to as well.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Sam Evis. I am the operator and the owner of the site on 30915 Southfield Road. I'm here just to thank you for your consideration. And this grant, if it happens, it means a lot to me. It gives me a lot of motivation. At the same time, it's a challenge for me to work harder and make that corner even better and better. Because when you give me something, I have to give you back something and make that corner the best that I can do for it. Thank you, and God bless you.
Okay. Yes, sir. You can be seated. I'm going to open up the public hearing now. And you can be seated. This is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak, please come forward.
Pamela Gerald, P.O. Box 155, Southfield, Michigan, 48037-0155. My telephone number is 248-346-0439. I'm in support of the Brownfield Development Plan and Tax Increment Financing Plan and Development Reimbursement Agreement, but I have some questions, and I'm not sure that I accurately heard Shelley or Mr. Abbas answer the question. Did he get the Brownfield because he spent over his initial budget, or did he get the Brownfield because of the unanticipated environmental hazards that he found during the development process? And whichever the case is, whose fault, and I don't know if you could really say fault, but who is the onus on to find those environmental things? Is it the city? Is it the developer? Is it the company that does the environmental study? I'm not sure. The other question I wanted to ask is about the 15% contingency. Can you explain that to the residents a little bit better? I don't recall brownfields having such a thing as a contingency, unless I'm just totally out of the loop right now. And then the last thing, will his ice machine be on the inside of the development or on the outside of the development? And if it's on the outside, is it in the plans? Because if it's not in the plans and on the plans, architectural designs, then it can't be outside. So if I could get those questions answered, it would be greatly appreciated. And I'm sure it's going to be really nice when you get done.
Anyone else wishing to speak on this particular item? The public hearing is closed, seeing no one. Council?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
this item has been before council, the study session, and so I'd like to move the suggested resolution that we have before us and approve the brownfield for this gentleman.
Support.
The move by Mr. Fakasi, supported by Mr. Cruz, that we approve public hearing item number A. Any further discussion? Are we prepared to vote? Mr. Frazier?
Yeah, I do have a comment. This gas station is right at the corner of Southfield Road and 13 Mile, and it's the first building that people see coming south on Southfield Road out of Beverly Hills into Southfield. The site plan, which we'll talk about later on, is really nice looking. So if you build it according to the site plan, it will be a positive thing for the city of Southfield to have that, and we're encouraging you to make sure that it stays like a star in the corner, so that people coming in, first thing they see is a positive look at Southfield. So, okay?
Okay, it's been moved and,
Didn't see the ads.
it's been moved and supported. Are we prepared to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing item number A is approved.
Thank you very much. I would like to just comment on a couple of things that Ms. Gerald had requested. We were approached by the petitioner after they started the work, when they discovered that there was additional issues that needed to be addressed. So they came to us, like most brownfield projects do, when they are in need of a gap to help fill the financing for their project. So that's how this project came before the city of Southfield. Thank you very much.
Okay. Public hearing item number B, PSLU 17-0013, a special use request to convert an existing service bay to retail and establish a gasoline filling station with ancillary retail sales on property located at 26455 Telegraph Road. Mr. Crowe?
Thank you. The public hearing is actually dealing with the special use request of Majad Gabera to convert an existing vehicle service bay to retail use and establish a gasoline filling station with ancillary retail sales on property located at 26455 Telegraph Road. Also part and parcel to this, but after the public hearing, is the site plan. So this is the site on the corner of Swanson Road and Telegraph. It's just south of the Best Western Premier. Existing conditions around the site. It's currently Zone B3. And that's in order for them to do the C-store with regard to the filling station, it does require special land use. I can go briefly through the site plan at this time, but you'll have to vote on those separately.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
And the site plan includes remodeling the building facade to convert the existing vehicle service bays to retail use, some landscaping upgrades, and some site circulation upgrades. And here is the proposed site plan. This was reviewed at your study session. I think the most significant impact will be the updating of the facade that faces Telegraph Road, and this image shows those changes converting the service bays to the windows. Per Mr. Frazier, we did check on the architectural history of that. This was actually done by former Sunoco architect. It's not the significant architect that you thought. Mr. Dorchin did contact me today, actually, and told me who Charles Ames, that studied at Cranbrook, I think early on in his career, worked on one other gas station in the city, but it wasn't this one.
Okay.
And part and parcel to this development is extending the existing canopy towards the building. So I'll, with that, the architect is here if you want to make any introductory comments before it goes to public hearing. Now, the public hearing, again, is just on the special use, and then afterwards we'll handle site plan questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Matthew Peters, Jeffrey Scott Architects, 32316 Grand River Avenue, Farmington, Michigan. Not really going to say too much because we've really appreciated the work and the effort that the city has helped us in moving this project forward. The extent of work that Jeff Spence brought to the project in helping us develop the site plan, the elevations to make them look a lot better and much better presentation for Telegraph Road for sure. I think we've done a lot of work in listening to what the city's needs were and taking those comments and producing a site plan for sure that works to everybody's agreement. And on that note, I think I'll just open it up to the public and then any questions after that.
I'm going to ask the owners here.
As well, yes.
Maybe just introduce themselves and explain why they're doing the conversion.
Okay. The owner is here.
My name is Majid Gabara. I'm the owner of the gas station there. So. And what do you need?
Just explain why you're converting it from the service to C-store.
We're converting it because, I mean, I used to have a towing before, and then I sold it, and I had a garage was helping out working together. So we don't have the towing anymore. So we're trying to get, you know, this service converted to a C-store. So, and then do some facing or something inside to make it nicer and bigger, you know, just to make it look better, you know, for the city. And beside, we have the hotel next door. So we're trying to do it like them, you know, we get it all together, you know, new design and new things and all that, get it going. So that's what we're trying to do. So.
Okay. All right. Yes, sir. The public hearing is now open. You can be seated.
Yeah.
Pamela Gerald, P.O. Box 155, Southfield, Michigan, 48037-0155. My telephone number is 248-346-0439. I've been going to this gas station for a very long time, and I could remember when the gas was probably some of the cheapest gas in the city of Southfield, and it was always a crowded place. I'm in support of the special use request only because it seems like gas stations aren't making the money servicing cars when people are taking their cars to the dealership, and like he said, he doesn't have the towing anymore. So I would be in support of his special use request to convert the existing service bays into a retail portion for the store, for the gas station. Now I'm concerned about the fact that with the conversion, what about the oil and some of the underground things? Are we going to deal with those issues ahead of time? And since the previous owner was able to get a brownfield redevelopment plan, tax increment financing, are we going to offer it to this longtime gas station owner the same thing? So anytime there's something that requires environmental cleanup, wouldn't that allow them to qualify for a brownfield? So I hope you're going to be asking for a brownfield tax credit, because you should be able to get it. And I would also be in support of that. Thank you.
Public hearing is still open. Anyone else wishing to speak on this item? Seeing no one, public hearing is closed.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Fakasi?
unless there's questions, I'd like to make a motion on this item.
Support. It's been moved by Mr. Fakasi, supported by Mr. Cruz.
And that would be PSLU 17-0013, should be the special use request.
Support. And it was supported by Mr. Cruz. Are there any questions?
And again, just through the chair, I would imagine you're referring to the recommended resolution of conditions?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Are we prepared to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
So our next item through the chair is PSP 17-0011, which is a site plan review request to convert the existing vehicle service space to retail use and establish a gasoline filling station with ancillary retail sales, remodel the building facade, and extend the canopy, and make other necessary site improvements on property located at 26455 Telegraph Road, as previously viewed.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve site plan PSP 17-0011.
Support.
Okay, moved by Ms. Morris, supported by Mr. Frazier, that we approve site plan PSP 17-0011. All in favor?
What? I have some questions.
I'm sorry.
I have some questions. In the site plan, it shows that there's snow storage on the north end of the gas station.
Yes.
But when you turn the page of the print and you see the north end, it shows a gate. Is there a gate on that?
Do you want to, I'm going to defer
Or
to
doors, actually doors, it's not.
defer to the architect.
Yeah, it looks almost like the garbage,
That's the dumpster.
Dumpster, yeah.
but on the front page, I don't
Right.
see the dumpster, I see the snow storage.
Right, so the snow storage is, and I'll have him correct me if I'm wrong, is north of where the dumpster is, in the paved area and the landscaped area. That's where they would be piling the snow, but not in front of the dumpster itself.
It's where?
You see where the dumpster is and where you would get access to the dumpster. The snow storage is north of that, in that there's partly paved area and there's partial green space before you get to the landscaping.
Okay, where's the dumpster at on the front page? Yeah, there's snow storage right here, but I don't see anything for dumpster.
That's a dumpster there.
Dumpster right here.
Little square thing here.
Want to jump in here? It's your plan.
I'll try to make it as clear as best I can. You see the little box with the X near the top there?
Yeah.
That's the dumpster, okay? And then there's an additional bit of pavement that he's pointing to right there where it says snow storage. So the snow will actually be stored just to the north of the dumpster. It won't impact in any way the operations to get to the dumpster.
But how can you guarantee that if you have a heavy snow so that when the trash hauler comes to pick up the dumpster, it won't have a lot of snow in front of it?
Well, that'd be for the owner and operator to make sure that he keeps it clear and available for that dumpster to be accessed.
So one of the genesis of, we now require them to identify snow storage is in.
I don't have any problem with that.
I know, is that snow was being piled in the areas where cars were supposed to be parked,
Sure.
and then they can't meet their parking requirement. In some cases, some development have to remove the snow from the site because they have no place. So they've identified, now, is this going to handle the entire site of snow? No. But we wanted them to specifically start identifying areas that didn't take away from the parking and didn't impact on the landscaping.
Well, when you look at the print, it shows there are doors on the front of the trash site.
I'm with you there.
With any amount of snow, I don't understand how they're going to be able to put snow in there and also open the doors of that so the trash hauler can get the, and I know you said it's the owner's responsibility, but it has to work.
I totally agree. So let's just assume that this is 6 feet wide, the gates. Then you've got at least double that plus this area in here for some additional snow storage. It's not going to cover the whole site. I agree with you.
Okay. You know, that's a concern. Second question I have, is there only one handicap parking space?
Yes. That's all that's required, yes.
Pardon me?
That was all that was required, yes.
Okay. But I am concerned about that, the snow storage in the trash bin. Because if there's snow in front of it, whoever empties the trash out of the building is not going to climb over a pile of snow to get to the trash bin if they can't get the gates open. And that's going to be at least a site problem.
We can add that as an extra condition that if there's an issue, they'll have to remove the snow from the site, if that would satisfy you.
Well, I just want to make it work.
I agree.
We
It's gotta be
approve a lot
practical.
of things in the summertime that look like they're going to work, but in the wintertime, it may not work or the opposite.
Right, and that's the whole purpose is trying to address that.
Yeah. Other than that, I think it looks like a really nice development.
So can we get the owner to come up and make a commitment that he'll make sure that that area is kept clean?
Oh, yeah, of course, because that's the only way, as you said, for the garbage to get. Now I get the garbage there, so they have to come in and pick it up. So if it's not clear for them, then they're not going to take it out. And then I'm going to have a pile of garbage. So that's what we do. We clear it up all the time, make sure it's clear for them to come in and get whatever you want, and get it out. It's always, that's the way always we do it, that way, so.
Yeah, you're going to have to make some kind of a deal with whoever plows your snow
Yeah,
to
of
make sure
course,
that they
make
don't
sure.
cover the,
Make sure it go in and out,
yes.
Just like I'm doing right now, I got space there, I put it there, but, make sure they come in and then they get out, get the garbage, so nothing interfere with them, so.
Okay, as long as that's done so that we don't have a mess with,
Yeah, besides, I don't want to get pile of garbage, just stays there, if they don't
Absolutely.
pick it up, it's going to be a mess there. And so, and we end up doing nothing there,
Okay.
It looks like, you know what I mean?
Currently, there's a temporary trailer that's been there for quite some time that's going to be removed. The Planning Commission also had a concern when originally a bike rack was stored in the same location that wasn't visible and accessible.
okay,
So I think you're right on. It is a tight site.
yeah. Otherwise, other than that, it looks good,
Thank you.
okay?
Any other discussion? Are we prepared to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Site plan PSP 17-0011 is approved. We will now go into public communications. Before we go into public communications, I want to speak about our protocol for public communications. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per individual. The city council will listen to all comments, may not respond during the meeting. Comments may be referred to the city administrator to follow up. As a matter of fairness, speakers with complaints against individuals are asked not to mention persons by name. Complaints concerning employees should be brought to the attention of the city administrator before coming to council. Additional rules regarding public comments have been established by the city council and may be found on the city website under the city clerk's page. Your cooperation is appreciated. The first person to be recognized is Ms. Pamela Gerald.
My name and address is already on the record, and this is not a public hearing. I'm going to read a letter that was given to me by Council President Dan Brightwell, and it's dated for February 9th of 2018, to Ms. Pamela Gerald, in reference to in-kind contribution to my 2015 campaign political organization. I will be amending my 2015 campaign finance report as it relates to your in-kind contribution to my city council campaign fundraiser, September 18th of 2015. Please provide me with a copy of the receipts for the items that you purchased for the campaign fundraiser, or if you don't have receipts, then give me your best estimate as to the amount of money you and your husband expended for the fundraiser. Whatever you present to me, either receipts or a best estimate, please sign and date documents to authenticate them. As soon as I get the above information from you, I will proceed and forward the amended campaign report to the Oakland County Elections Division. Thank you, CC Sue Ward Witkowski. First of all, I'm not giving you anything else. I gave you copies of the receipts on 3 occasions. You were asked after a month when my husband did not see it on your campaign finance report. I asked you on 2 separate occasions, almost a year after you ran and was elected. So I'm not giving you anything else. I don't know why you CC'd this to Sue Ward. She is not your attorney. She was not your attorney when you ran for council. And it is no reason for you to CC this, or I don't know if she wrote it or if you wrote it yourself. You got a lot of other things to worry about. Not like micromanaging whether or not people are eating and drinking in this auditorium. You need to be concerned about employee contracts coming up for renewal. You need to be concerned about following the money trail for Northland, like you said that you would do when I helped you campaign finance and fundraise and run for office. You're doing Cyver's agenda, and if you can't get your own agenda as council president with your colleagues, then I need to vote you down and say that I don't have confidence in your ability to be a president. You came to Joan Seymour's memorial, and may she rest in peace. Why you didn't come to Mr. Lance's funeral? So I'm not giving you anything else.
Next person to be recognized is Mr. Gerald Mullen.
Gerard
Mullen.
Get it right. Gerard Mullen.
Good evening. My name is Gerard Mullen, Southfield Citizens Oversight Committee, Post Office Box 155, Southfield, Michigan 48037. At the last Committee of the Whole Council meeting on February 5th, I heard you folks to say that you are going back to school to learn about Robert's rules. I can't be mad at you folks for wanting to improve yourselves and to improve these council meetings. But much more important than Robert's rules is the knowledge of the Open Meetings Act of 1976. You folks have pretty much ignored the Open Meetings Act for the last 40 years. And I'll give you an example that crosses over into Robert's rules. And that is, when must the minutes of the meeting be approved? According to the Open Meetings Act handbook published by the Michigan Attorney General, and I quote from page 15, at the board's next meeting, unquote. In other words, at the next council meeting. Well, for the last 40 years, this city has not done this. That is, approve each prior meeting's minutes at the following meeting. And anyone can check this out by checking out the minutes on Documents on Demand on the clerk's website. For example, on December 18th, 2017 meeting, and on January 22nd, 2018 council meeting, council approved 5 sets of minutes at each meeting. 5 sets, not 1 set. Enough said. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person to be recognized is Ms. Sherry Jackson Caldwell. Is Ms. Caldwell in? If not, the next person will be Mr. Joseph Person.
My name is Joseph Person. My post office box is 115 Southfield, Michigan 48035. First of all, I'd like to say thank you, Mayor, thank you, President, and definitely the First Lady of the city of Southfield, and distinguished lady of was it People of the Year, the Chronicle newspaper, Miss Sharika Hawkins. I'm a concerned Southfield resident. And with respect to the Northland project, I have a 3-part question to address to this council. 1, has the decision to sell part of the land been finalized? And have you considered leasing the land as an alternative? Have you carefully analyzed whether it is more cost-effective or beneficial to the city to lease versus selling? 2nd question is, whether you lease or sell the land, how will the money generated benefit the residents of Southfield? 3, given the demographics of the city, have you or how will you assure that African Americans are included in the planning, construction, and the execution of this project? Ladies and gentlemen, the reason that I asked this question is that on February 20th, I was invited to a town hall meeting over at Providence Hospital. A gentleman by the name of Ben Rosenfeld, who's the Vice President of Development, and he's from a company that's out in San Diego. This gentleman and the other individuals with him were soliciting investors for this project, and the return on that investment would be 12% to be paid out in 4 increments quarterly at 3% each, increment. So my thought process was, why aren't we, the citizens of Southfield, informed about this information? Because I might have, I don't know how much money. I think all of us come together and put some monies together and let's invest in it, in this project, so that we get something, because it has been in the past and present in other projects in other cities such as Cleveland, Washington, D.C., New York. We could go on and on. We always hear about it at the end, the residents, and it's too late to invest money into it. So I'd like us to get ahead of this, but specifically answer this question. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good evening.
Thank you. We have no further communications. But let me, I didn't want to respond and waste the individual's time, but I'm going to respond to Ms. Gerald just briefly. You did give me the receipts one time, and I misplaced those receipts. So I was not given anything 3 times. And if I ever receive anything, I will amend my campaign finance report. I have spoken to the election division, people in Pontiac, and they told me I can amend it whenever I get some authenticated documents. So I hope that's the end of this. Now we will go into the council portion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I move that we approve the travel expense report for Mr. Fracassi for the 2018 State of the County program on February 7th, 2018.
Support.
Been moved by Mr. Frazier, supported by Mr. Cruz, that we approve Mr. Facassi's travel expense request. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Would the records indicate that I abstained?
Mr. Facassi abstained. The next Any other council items? Next item is Mr. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Now, let me, I'm sorry, to the administrator, John. We have, I was looking at the amount of potholes that we have in the city, driving the city, looking at the roads, in the interior roads of our subdivisions, and we've got holes that, you know, my wife was kidding me, maybe we should plant flowers.
Trees.
Yeah, trees in them. I mean, there's a couple on Winchester. I don't want to go through all the ones that I found, but I'd like to see a report on how they are working in the city on the main roads, secondary roads, and the interior residentials, and how they're doing with it, because we probably had the worst winter for potholes that I can ever recall. And in doing some studies on, with the transportation, state transportation, I've looked at it, and it's a real good report. And it shows the potholes and the depth of them and what is necessary to get them repaired. And a lot of these potholes have gone through the third layer of the base, so that when they put the asphalt down, you know, they're just, in other words, there's asphalt, then there's 2 layers, 3 layers under that, and you'll see the diagram, when water goes down, you know, it seeps into the first bay, then the second, and then the third. We've got a lot of them that are right down to the third, which means that they need total reconstruction. And I know that's not being done, and I don't know how in the world we'd even do it because the amount of large holes we have. But I'd just like to see some kind of indication from Highway and administration how we're going to deal with the number of potholes that we have. And maybe we can go to individual contractors. We used to have crack and seal in the city, and about 5, 6 years ago, they stopped doing it. And that's why so much of this potholes are existing, because we haven't maintained our roads with the crack and seal, and the highways, state and county, have not done any maintenance at all either. And I would just like to find out how we're going to deal with this massive problem.
I will certainly contact DPW and follow up on that, sir.
And if they don't have this book, I'll give it to them.
Thank you.
Mr. Frazier?
Yeah, what Mr. Fracassi brought that to mind, and that is I think we need more of a pothole patrol than just expecting citizens to call in and, you know, we have vehicles all over the city every day. And I went by one, I can't remember what street I was on the other day, that the pothole was so bad that somebody had set a cone out by it so that people would steer around it. But we have our workers out going all over the city, and they really should be reporting back to the Public Works where they see potholes so that we can get on them. I hit one pothole, and you and I talked about that on 10 Mile, that I thought I had bent the rim on my tire. It was fortunately I didn't, but it was so hard, and I'm sure that there are any number of people in the city that have also experienced that same experience with other potholes. So we really do need to get on top of it.
Through the chair, I do know that potholes are reported in that manner.
Your mic on?
Yes, sir. I do know that potholes are reported in that manner, but I will reinforce that message. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it.
Okay. No more council. Mr. Mayor?
Well, I was going to bring up potholes because I've heard from lots of people over the last several days. We've obviously had a thaw, and we had a lot of rain. And with that, not only in Southfield, it's now pothole season. And I want people to know that after it stopped raining last week, we have had 3 crews out every single day filling potholes. However, we have 246 miles of roads, and it takes quite a while to get around. I also would, again, remind everyone that in the past 3 years, excuse me, we've led Oakland County in the amount of road construction in the city. And we have spent about $97 million on road repairs, which is a lot of money, but it's not anywhere near enough for the size of the problem. This year, in speaking with our city engineer, we're on tap to spend $30 million, of which over $8 million is in grant money, and a number of projects are now on the books. But again, with the amount of road surface we have to maintain, it's going to be a process. And a suggestion I would make, and this is, I know people would rather you just fix the potholes, but until the potholes are fixed, I would advise people to drive more slowly. Many times the damage to tires and rims is due to high speed when the tire hits the crater in the road. I know that's not always possible, but given what the driving conditions are, I would suggest people go a little more slowly. At least that's what I'm doing. I have 2 other things that I'd like to share this evening. One, our Career Center, which is located down the street on Civic Center Drive at 21415 Civic Center Drive, is holding starting a business workshop. This will be on March 6th from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Again, March 6th, 9 to 11:30 at the Career Center in the Marks Building on the campus of Lawrence Tech. And this workshop is designed for individuals who are interested in starting their own business. And it will help inspiring entrepreneurs to access their abilities to lead and manage a company. Startup costs, financing options, and business planning are introduced along with the necessary steps of getting started. And again, our Career Center is funded through Michigan Works, and there are a whole number of options available at the Career Center, as well as employment and training opportunities. And the third and final thing I wanted to mention tonight is that our Commission on Senior Adults, which came before Council last month with a report of the various things that they're doing, as you know, they're working on making Southfield, doing a study on making Southfield an age-friendly community, using the guidelines of the American Association of Retired Persons. And so they kicked this off last May with a community conversation in the Southfield Pavilion. They followed it up in September with a community conversation that really talked about transportation, housing, communication, and some other things. So they will have another community conversation. And the reason for these community conversations is to get feedback from residents as they go through the process of making sure that we're certified as an age-friendly community. So if you have concerns, and you don't have to be an older adult to attend these community conversations, but the next conversation is March 1st. That's this Thursday in the Southfield Pavilion from 5 to 7 p.m. And basically, these are listening sessions. The COSA group will have facilitators, and they record the feedback that they receive from not only senior adults, but Southfield residents who wish to attend. And again, the 8 areas that they are concentrating on are outdoor spaces and buildings, transportation, housing, social participation, respect and social inclusion, civic participation and employment, communication and information, and community support and health services. So these are the areas that they're taking sort of testimony on in the focus group sessions that will be held again March 1st in the pavilion, 5 to 7 p.m. Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes my report for the evening.
Thank you, sir. Administration?
The administration has nothing to add at this time. Thank you.
Madam Attorney?
Nothing this evening. Thank you, Mr. President.
Clerk?
Just quick, briefly, as we close out February, I just wanted to acknowledge Black History Month. Here in the city of Southfield, we have very historical leaders here that's doing great things and have done great things for the city. So celebrating African American history provides an opportunity to highlight the best of African American history and culture here, and this creates awareness for all people. So I just wanted to acknowledge Black History Month. Thank you.
Treasurer? Planner, assessor, engineer, we have nothing to schedule. We have no ordinances. This meeting is adjourned.